Can you trust mental health advice on TikTok? Let's talk about it. Hi, and welcome everyone to another episode of Let's Talk About It podcast by SafeTalk, where we cover all things mental health. And usually we would say we cover all things about mental health that is rarely talked about, but today we are going to be discussing about a social media platform that is like really popular right now, which is TikTok. So social media, mental health, these two things are constantly evolving. So today we are going to look for the answer to the question, can you trust mental health advice on TikTok? So to explore this topic, of course, we've invited another therapist with us as our guest today. And let me introduce you to Miss Jesh. She is a registered counselor and a licensed mental health first aider. Welcome, Miss Jesh. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you to SafeTalk for having me, for inviting me for today.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. We're so happy that you're here. And before we kind of get into the topic today, if you don't mind, can you share a little bit about your profession, like what you mostly work on?
Yeah, sure. I have started this for like 8-9 years in this field, and I work together with students, parents, and working with mental health providers as well, as in like a team, work together and all, and as well as like being a guest speaker, clinical supervisor, all together. And everything related to mental health. Yeah, all in one.
And you've like experienced for almost 1 decade by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm interested to know like what makes you choose to talk about TikTok.
Very good question. Well, it's very encouraging to see out there where doctors, lawyers, mental health professions are actually coming out to this TikTok platform to share about all this. Because those days, our parents, our grandparents, they need certain informations, right? They need to like walk to the department, walk to the office and stuff like that. But I think now, since we have TikTok, this has been like a information platform. You can just go and check on it. So I am kind of like very much motivated and encouraged, as well as like I appreciate people who are doing this for providing information, because they're actually doing it for free. Because recently I came across this one video. They were talking about healthcare. It was like very kind of surprised, like, oh, this is all coming as free. You just go on to the TikTok, you check on it, like
and it's like really easily accessible, like you said. Now it's not only just entertainment. There's like mental health health professionals also go there and then talk about let's debunk this, let's talk about benefits of this. And then there's also the other side where patients share their experiences going through this and that. So there's so many information on there, whereas like maybe 10-15 years ago it was just music videos on YouTube, but now it's way more. So and interestingly, you mentioned about professionals being on the platform, right? I think with social media, many people are cautious of scams and choosing the right sources. Like, is this source reliable? Like, even back then in Facebook and Instagram, people were still raising awareness, like, okay, don't believe everything you see. But now there's doctors and professionals using platforms like TikTok to educate and advocate. So I kind of want to know what's your thoughts on that. Like, should we as users still be careful of advice given even though they are verified on social media?
Well, you see, the blue check mark doesn't define or doesn't guarantee you that it's actually an accurate information. All right. It is always about, we go back home, do our homework. It's more like FCC fact check claim information. You check on that. As for example, let's say we are actually going to this video on the TikTok. So you go through it, you kind of like it, this topic has been discussed, then go on evidence-based information, which means go back, do a research. Hey, I think I heard about anxiety, for example. Then go back and do a research. Is it correct? Because just because they have a blue check mark, it might be correct or stuff like that, but it's not completely, you see, because that 30 seconds, they are actually sharing something which is oversimplified and generalized. I'm not saying it's wrong. It is correct, accurate. But for you to go back and do a homework, rather than just depending on it. That is the only thing that we should do.
Right. It
Yeah.
should not just stop there.
Yes, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with social media, I think there's two things that I can point out. It's that people will lean on either relatable content or content that they think is reliable, right? Like you said, like, oh, this might be a doctor, so I think this is reliable. And so it's either both of this. So the thing is, with, like you said, having blue check mark, being verified doesn't guarantee that this is 100% correct, or not just about correct, but this is all the things that you need to know. There's always more, right? But because I see, fortunately, I haven't seen this in mental health, but I've seen other healthcare professionals, like, for example, dentists. People fake their dentistry and say, oh, I'm certified and I do these courses, but then real orthodontists and dentists come in and say, oh, wait, don't trust this. This is actually a scam. So you have to fact check, right? You can't just trust everything you see, even if that person seems to be going viral or something like that. So I think you have to have that conscious and awareness with the information that you're taking.
Yes, correct. Definitely.
Yeah. And that's in terms of the reliable sources. Now kind of going to the relatable part, because people are leaning towards relatable. And relatable content doesn't have to just be doctors talking about symptoms. It can be other people who are sharing their personal stories, right? Oh, I'm going through this mental health struggles and I have this sort of symptoms and this is my story. So people find, oh, that's relatable. So TikTok can be a great place to find a community and like feel less alone. It can also provide validation for viewers who relate to content about mental health conditions. Like they see this video, they're like, oh, hey, I relate to this and I didn't know that this is a disorder. So the thing is, I want to know from you is that a dangerous thing to normalize?
You see, whatever been shared by the person who have experienced it, it's actually a very what they call it's normal for them to share what they have experienced.
Yeah.
But normalizing it it's something to be very. I mean, when we are talking openly about this, it's more about they are reducing the stigma to the public.
Right.
Yeah, because those days they were like, going to a doctor to meet for any disease is fine. If you're going to meet a psychiatrist, you're meeting a counselor, it's like, oh no,
something's wrong.
Yeah, correct. I just don't understand that at any point of time. So it's more like it's reducing the stigma, which is very good. And another part is like, it is always good that they make it as a norm, like kind of thing. It's okay, I'm going to meet a psychiatric or mental health profession. It's fine, I'm just going, which is good, which is really good. But but there's also a risk factor there. You see, there's obviously because they are actually creating a community where it's fine, but there's also another part of it. There's also another side of it where they might misdiagnose.
Right.
Yeah. Let's say I am actually sharing your video, right? Like I'm actually posting a video about me having a social anxiety, for example. And then, you're actually going through the video, you might be like, so I have this symptom, this symptom. Oh, I'm actually having a social anxiety as well.
Yeah.
So that is actually, you're actually self-diagnosing on yourself based on what a person has shared. That is actually, that's what they are experiencing. Yeah. So that is more like, just because mental health, you see, it's very personalized.
Right.
What I am going through doesn't mean that you will be going through the same thing, even though we are diagnosed in the same same diagnosis or whatsoever. Yeah. So just because I'm having anxiety and you're also having anxiety, for example, doesn't mean my coping mechanism and your coping mechanism works well together. Yeah. Because this is very personalized, you see. And another thing is like normalizing will actually leads to unhealthy behavior, more like the coping mechanism, like I said.
Right.
Yeah, because just because she is doing it, this person's doing it, doesn't mean I can do that as well. So it's how we are taking it. Yeah, normalizing is good in the sense of coming out with the sense of community, talking about it. People are talking openly about this, which is very good. But there's also another part of it. So we have to be cautious about what we are choosing. Yeah.
So in short, it's good. The conversation, the normalization is good. But like you said, there's I've outlined this. There's two outcomes to this. One is a person ended up self-diagnosing themselves, or they could actually watch that video and see, oh, I relate to these symptoms. Now I'm aware of this, so I can bring this up to my doctor. So that is the awareness part that is healthy, that is good. It's just that it depends on the user how they handle this information and how they want to proceed with it, right? And not only just the user, but the content creator themselves. There's these two tendencies. Like, one is when they share their personal story, that is completely fine. Like you said, we just want to normalize this conversation. But then there's also people who say that, oh, if you have these symptoms, then you have ADHD, for example, just because they themselves have ADHD. But then they translate that information by telling other people that this is your symptoms instead of this is what I have, like this is what I go through. So there's need to be like responsibilities on both sides, I feel like. And so, but let's say a viewer finds that video relatable and start questioning if they have a particular diagnosis or disorder, right? What advice would you give them?
Seek for mental health support. Yeah. You see, when we are seeking a mental health profession, it is always good to seek from someone who is licensed and registered. So it's very easy nowadays. We can go for the website, like if counselors, you can go for Lembaga Counselors Malaysia website. Yeah, and you can go for a clinical psychologist website and just go and check, hey, I'm actually looking for this person. Or else, if you're going through, if you're following this one particular mental health profession person, for example, a counselor, so you're following them, and then you can actually go and, meet the person in person to their clinic or their hospitals and all, just because you are going through, they're following them, so kind of like their sharings and all that. You can always go back and check on them. And then that would be very personalized consultation you will be getting, rather than the one you are following through 30-second, 40-second videos. You see, that is something that you can do, because this is actually to avoid them from, like I said before, self-diagnosing. And another thing is, like, talk to someone who can trust, a trustable person. When I say trustable person, many of them question me like, what do you mean by trustable person? Trustable person is all about the person that you trust to share, and the same person who is someone who is willing to trust what you're saying, and they are providing you a tool of encouragement and support you. Not the person who just to listen to you, There's someone who can, lift you up.
Because unfortunately, that's a good point, because sometimes we want to open up, but we didn't check like if this person can be trusted, but that when we talk to them, it ended up like worsening your mental health, because they don't understand you.
Yes, it's sometimes, rather than not understanding it, there are also people out. I understand it's a raising year this time all the time. So, but it always about sharing to someone who is there to lift you up. When I say lift you up, it's like someone who is there to like, hey, it's okay, it's all right. Listening, just not to reply. Listening to move you away from what you're going through. It's like, I'm not talking about spoon feeding or whatsoever, but there to guide you towards. To guide you forward what you should do and all that. Right? And other than that, it's about prioritizing self-care. I think our parents, our grandparents, those days, they have been doing self-care, you see, but they don't label it as a self-care. They go for gardening, they go for morning walk. You see all this, because when I'm looking through, my grandparents are doing all this, I'm like, this is self-care, this is self-care.
They're healthier than us.
Correct. So that's why those days, I won't say they don't have all this, they don't go through mental health issues or whatsoever, but they know they unconsciously they are actually doing it. They've been doing it, just that we don't know. Like these days, I see my mom, she's like, doing her gardening and all that after work, and I'm like, this is self-care. I kind of like labeling it. This is self-care, this is self-care. So this is something have been doing, people have been doing it. It's just that we don't get labeled at that time. We don't label it. But now we are considering self-care for a vacation, I'm not saying it's about luxury kind of thing. Sitting alone, watching the rain, sitting next to the rain. It's also the self-care, you see. It is self-care. It is self-care. Listening to music is a self-care. Going for yoga is a self-care. There's a lot of things, I know. And another thing is that viewers can actually like coming out with writing a journal. You see, journal, talking about journal, I remember speaking to someone. They said, "Oh, are you talking about the journal that they have like customized and all that?" I'm like, "Oh,
yeah.
no. It's okay. Just a small book, notebook. You write it as a journal. Just write down what you have done for today, the whole day today.
Yeah.
So, what are the things that you're grateful? My journal today is going to be like, I'm grateful to meet you. Yeah, that kind of thing, you see. So every day you write down it. So at one point in time, when you look back, this much thing that have gone through. Sometimes it's very surprising. But towards the end of the month, in a month, on the 30th of a month, you look back and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's unbelievable. Like, oh my God. You know, it was a roller coaster month, but I actually made it.
Right.
Yeah, so these are the things that, we can slowly try to practice.
When you say journal, interestingly, yesterday on TikTok, I saw there's this father, he already passed away, but his daughter or son was sharing online that, their father have been doing journals since 1985 or something. So he has like one book per year, and it's like, oh my God, so wholesome. And like you said, it doesn't have to be fancy. And he writes down like one day it's like 3 sentences on like what happened. We went to the hospital and this is what I did. And he did that until like 2024. So that's like really great for some people. And I know that's, maybe some people think that it's very tedious, but again, we had this discussion with a different therapist in like our previous episodes as well. It's like, do what works for you, right? You can do journal, or some people do like video journaling where they talk in front of the camera. And yeah, I think that's a really good point. One is that you can reach out to other people, and at the same time you can work it for yourself, like work towards your own self-care.
Correct.
Yeah. And so that is one question, right? And back to self-diagnosis. So self-diagnosis has a negative connotation to it, which is, of course, understandably so. People don't want to encourage that, right? But at the same time, we need to acknowledge that getting help and getting a diagnosis is privilege, because I do notice people bringing this thing up, because some people might say, oh, just go to a mental health professional, get yourself diagnosed. But to some people, they it's not possible for them, especially for those who are under, their own parents who are not understanding, or who just don't have that quick access to a therapist, psychologist. So to me, I feel like if someone says that they fear that they have symptoms of this certain disorder, instead of going, no, you don't have that, this is normal, because we're trying to not encourage self-diagnosis, but at the same time, we don't want to shut people down and say you don't have this. So I think kindness plays an important role, right? Because we want to give support when that is necessary, so that people know that this is something that can bring up to a doctor and get a proper assessment. And yeah, so that is, I think we've covered this while we talked about in previous questions. So now going to the next topic, right? There's a saying that goes, too much of a good thing is bad, or too much of anything is bad. And let me give you a scenario. Someone just went through a breakup and they go on TikTok and like, okay, let me just look at, I found this video and this is about a breakup and this is sad, but at the same time it's comforting because I relate to this content. But however, engaging with this content can lead the algorithm to suggest you more of this type of content. So now, instead of just, one video about breakup, now their whole feed is filled with breakup posts. And now they're like breathing even more. So if they're not careful, that feeling of comfort is now translated to a more like depressive feeling. So therefore, in your professional opinion, right, does engaging with this kind of content support healthy grieving, or could it be counterproductive?
You see, there's a two side of it.
Yeah.
It has a positive effect as well as negative effect. But first thing first is, this person who's going through grief, breakup and all that, they need to have self-acceptance. Self-acceptance that, yes, I have gone through a breakup and it's very normal to feel this way.
Yeah.
And there's no wrong to feel this way. Yeah, that part is very, very important. Before you start on to meet a mental health profession, you're going to do whatever you want to, you're comfortable with or whatsoever. But first thing first, you manage to accept, acknowledge it, and then you validate that and then accept that and then you move on. Because there are so many people that I meet outside. They're like, yeah, I've gone through a breakup. I don't want to talk about it,
Yeah.
but I want to move on. Like, how can you move on when you don't want to talk about it? You
Yeah.
see, it doesn't get telly, you see. So it has to be like it's not just talking about it, it's just that addressing how you feel here and now. What you feel about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and accept it. Yes, it's no wrong or right to feel that way, you say. Like, it's fine. You feel bad, you feel sad. Because breakup, if we're talking about, for example, breakup, there's a good side of it. Like, you are out of it. If a person is going through a toxic relationship, yeah, definitely, it's fine to,
Yeah.
come out of it. But if it's like, it's a painful breakup and stuff, yeah, I understand, and you come out of it. Like,
Yeah.
accept that, all
Yeah.
right? And then, second thing is like seeking for help. Yeah, because it's alright, okay, I'll get through it, but how are you going to get through it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the good side of it. Going through these TikToks, like, you see a lot of like sharings, and doctors contact which doctor you can. Now you have a choice. You see, those days we only walk to the nearest clinic. Now it's not like that.
Yeah.
You have variety of there. So I check on it. But there's a negative side as well, because going through all this, right? It's actually making you to believe that it's a very long-term process of being in that dilemma. You see, it's like,
Yeah.
it's going to be long. It's definitely going to be long. Then you started to, go into that area for quite some time. Your emotions will be like so much built into it, and it will affect the whole life until you are coming out from that circumference. Yeah, it will be continuing with it. All right. And another part of it, it's like the part where it's prolonged, you are actually stopping yourself. You're putting a pause to yourself from actually moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yes, you are still in that area. You say your emotions, your body, your soul, your brain as well. Everything is into that because you keep seeing that. It continues seeing that. So that's how it is. So you don't have a part where it actually coming out of it unless you choose how you want to view that. Which means if I take my TikTok and I'm gonna type like breakup.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have like, sad songs and all that kind of thing. But if I'm going to type in, taking my like TikTok and go like, moving on from breakup.
Right.
So how I'm going to take this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't trap yourself in that because, I like that point because every therapist will say that acknowledge is the first important thing that you need to do. And that fear as well, I like that you mentioned about the fear of, this is going to be a very long process because we have that perception that if I think about this trauma, then I'm just going to be thinking about this all the time. But actually facing it right in front of us, like, okay, let me face this thing, it will help with the progress, right, with the process. Because I talked to my own therapist, and then because I didn't realize that I'm doing this subconsciously because I thought that, I'm very open with my mental health. But then when I'm aware that I'm actually not facing my emotions head on, and then I do that practice where, okay, first acknowledge and then bring myself to the present, bring my senses back here, and then choosing what kind of action I wanted to do next. And then I realized, yes, of course I'm sad and I will cry for 30 minutes, but after that I'm okay because like, why do I need to think about it again? Because I already faced it 30 minutes ago, so I'm good now. I can move on now, right? And I think people also think that moving on or healing means being happy and not remembering whatever that happened, but trauma will stick with you no matter what. Like, memory is there. And one of the things that I also heard from people is that the reason why you feel sad from a breakup is because maybe that relationship had good moments in it. So of course, like, you grieve that happiness that you had back then, but now you have to come back to the acceptance part. And I like that you mentioned it's okay to feel what you're feeling, but go to the next chapter. Now you already relate to that emotion of breakup. Now, how do you deal with it? How do you move on with it? And again, we've already talked about how there's so many content on TikTok. So use that access to access more content that is more progressive and productive for us. So yeah, I like that answer from you. But I also want to know, like, if let's say someone already falls into that rabbit hole of content over and over again, so what would be the potential long-term effects on their mental health?
They'll get a better understanding about how this can affect themselves in a better way, in a good way.
Yeah.
Understanding and creating the awareness is very important. So in the long term, they at least get an idea how can they move their life with this, because not everybody get a chance to, feel that way. We can empathize, we can sympathize, but when it's come to like I am going through it, then it's actually from a different point of view.
Yeah.
Like for example, I can advise you, I can support you, but accepting that and going through that is you. So when you're going through all this, is about you get you manage to gain a better understanding. So this is how it is and stuff like that. And another thing is a sense of support. I'm not alone. I'm definitely not alone. Let's say, like, going through this TikTok for a long time, like, at one point you realize that, I'm not the only one going and meeting a therapist. There's a lot, because I recently came across this. This person actually did a vlog of her whole day before meeting a therapist. So like she woke up, but she's not from Malaysia. I don't remember where she's from, but she wake up, and then she get ready. She's wearing a comfortable clothes, attire before she meet a therapist, and then she is done with the homework the therapist has given her. More like a journaling and stuff like that, and then get a breakfast, a simple light breakfast that she made by her own self, just for her, and just driving to meet a therapist. So this is actually creating the awareness that it's not wrong to go and meet a therapist, and she was dressing up very well, and she put on a makeup, lipstick. People are thinking that meeting therapists is going to be like, I don't know, because they'll just come like, I just wore this because, I'm kind of nervous, anxious.
People treat it like it's so scary.
Exactly. But, even watching that video, I even was like, wow, she even dressed up so well. She put on her makeup, so she did her hair, and then that's how she's meeting a therapist. So this is actually a positive part of letting others know that, hey, you know what? Meeting a therapist can be more like going for a dating. I don't know. Like going shopping or stuff like that. The vlog that I shared with you, I continue watching a few vlogs, and I realized that she was taking a medication. She said, to this time after this appointment, my counselor actually told me to reduce these dosage. So I'm actually reducing this, and this is the next day she's sharing about how is the differences from the previous dosage and current dosage. So this is more like, so it's not wrong to get a medication from a psychiatric counselors and all that, you see. So it's no wrong to getting meeting a counselor for counseling sessions and then getting a medication from a psychiatric. So it's no wrong. So people will be like, if I'm taking this medicine, it's not. Obviously every medicine has a side effect, but it's no wrong. You are actually healing, But another part of it is that, like too much of good things. So it's about not all the content are good for all of us. Like when I say good, means it's more like the content that you see, you have to like go check with it. Like in the first question that I told you, fact check it. It doesn't, if it suits for you, then it's fine. If it's not, then and another thing, when we are going through all these videos, right, we tend to have this sense of comparing. Because even I told you the blog, the person is not in Malaysia, so her lifestyle is different. So if I am the person as a viewer who's going through what she is going through, I'll be like, oh wow, look at that. So that will actually lead to a low self-esteem and self-confidence to the viewer.
And it can be both, like you either get jealous that this person is doing better than me, or you're jealous that this person is going through something worse than me, so why am I here complaining?
Correct. So it's more like, oh wow, she's going meeting a therapist at this, So it's more like, it's more like she will, I mean, this person will be getting this low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And going back to the part when I said sense of community,
Mm.
when they have a community, that's a good thing,
Yeah.
but it shouldn't replace meeting mental health
Professionals, right.
So you see, a support group is good, well, I mean, they are well organized and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But they are actually sharing what they have gone through.
Yeah.
They are actually sharing what their therapists have shared with them about their coping mechanism, medications, therapy, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still limited there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this sense of community, this community that you have, shouldn't, it could be a red flag for you to like not to meet.
Yeah.
It shouldn't replace meeting a therapist. Let it
It's
go.
still important.
You can still have your,
Yeah.
yeah. And another thing, it's mold a person better. It's how you see that. So if it's like, if you're taking it as a tool of, like I say, if you're taking it for learning, you are learning it. If you're taking it too much as in like, oh, okay, I'm gonna push this aside, then I'm gonna focus on only into TikTok.
Sad,
Yeah, and all that, then it's definitely like, yeah.
So you have to choose your content wisely. And I like I've never heard about the vlog thing that you mentioned. Like, oh, I never watched someone go through like, oh, here's my vlog today going to the therapist. And it's a very good point because we actually had this conversation, I think 2 days ago, about destigmatizing therapy, because we think, oh, I have to be miserable when I go into that appointment, because even people who go through therapy, they feel like, oh, today is my therapy session. Why am I feeling happy? I should be miserable so I can show my therapist that this is what I'm going through. But we should not normalize that. If we feel good, then we feel good. And one thing that this therapist said to us the other day was that going to therapy or getting help is actually a form of mental gym. So mental gym, when we think of going to the gym, it's a healthy thing. It should be something that we celebrate. We should do like a weekly thing or monthly thing where we check on our body and make sure that we're healthy. So the same thing that we should treat with our brain, right? Some people go to therapy to heal their trauma. Some people can just go to therapy to just like check on themselves, right? And we need to destigmatize that and separate ourselves from the other person. Like you said, if we see a video and then like, oh, I feel jealous of this person, or I feel like I should feel worse or better, but we should have this we should disconnect ourselves from them, right? That is that person, and we are our own selves, and however that we're feeling is totally valid, right? Yeah. And so going to more about content, right? Let's say someone's scrolling through TikTok and they stumble across a video that triggers trauma. It could be anything, a story, a sound, something visual, and it totally catches them off guard and leaves them feeling horrible. I know that people educate others like, oh, you can put a trigger warning tag, like, right? Trigger warning, this video is going to contain this, that. But the thing is, sometimes you just can't avoid it. When you're triggered, right? So what are some things that someone can do in that moment to manage their trigger?
Triggering comes when you know you're going through it.
Yeah.
And you are watching a video, you know the sense of trigger is coming. So it's not that you don't realize it, you will realize it. So knowing that, pause the video, distance yourself from your gadget. Okay, I'm talking about just right there, you're watching it and you get triggered. Just stop, pause the video, put it aside, and then focus here and now. It's either you do mindfulness or whatsoever, just for a few seconds,
Right.
and then you can try to do grounding technique. You can start touch on the texture surface, stress ball,
Right.
and make sure you can feel yourself. All right, so this is like the first beginning things that you have to do.
Yeah.
As soon as you pause the video, of course you have to, because it's a past trauma, so it's no wrong to feel. So, and then you should believe and trust that it's okay. It's all right. I'm good to
I'm
feel
safe,
this.
yeah.
And it's no wrong to feel this triggering part because you are feeling it because you have gone through it.
Yeah.
And it's no right or wrong. So it's okay. Alright? And once you are settled, you feel good, you are we usually call that green zone.
Okay.
So when you feel in a green zone, you're alright, reach out to someone.
Okay.
Because of course you can't even go and get you quickly can't go and fix an appointment and stuff. So that's why I say it's always good to have
Trusted person.
yes, it's always good to. That's why even though people are meeting with therapists and all that, we therapists we always check on. That's why we'll have an informed consent. You see, we always get the person that they trust.
Yeah.
Their support, their guidance, their informations will be taken into as a guardian or stuff like that. Because this person will be a person who's going to be with this particular client throughout their journey with us. So reach out to the person. Hey, I gone through this. I feel. I feel a bit not okay for now. So what should I do and stuff like that. And that is something that you can do at that particular moment.
Yeah.
But next, for better outcome or in future, for you to not to have this videos again, you can do the TikTok setting. The TikTok setting is like now we do have like you keep on watching few videos like 10-15 videos if I'm not mistaken because I do that for skincare. And like do you want to continue having this for 30 days or something? So you can say no.
Right.
You can say no. So that next 30 days it doesn't come to your feed.
And there's an option like, okay, I'm not interested in this.
Yes, correct. So you can do that.
Yeah.
And then you can try it, but somehow you watch in any video, it accidentally come in. I don't know, because we are working on machines, you see. So you can have a quick self-care part for you, where if you're getting triggered or something, that's something that you can work on your body, your soul, your spirit at that particular moment. But the first thing, like I said, the grounding technique and all that, something that you can do instantly. You are watching, pause the video, put it aside. And grounding technique, of course, make sure you feel the texture and all that.
So like when you see that video, because I know I heard a therapist saying this as well, that some people actually get addicted to the feeling of sadness or grief or certain emotions, and that like, if you see a video that's triggering, then don't go, okay, I'm gonna watch this to the end, and then like I'm gonna continue drown myself.
It's actually prolonged for the whole day. Just one video for 30 seconds, it might prolong the feel of it, might prolong for the whole day. Just like how we memorize a song.
Right.
There's a new song for in the trend, you keep on coming on to it in TikTok, So this sometimes from anybody that who start posting their pictures and all that related to that song. So it keep on prolonged for the whole day. Same goes here. You watch one video that you're already feeling a bit not okay, and you're watching it. It might just get prolonged for the whole day. So it's good to put a pause there. It's not that I had someone who came to me and said, I actually paused after the video ends. So I'm like, what? I paused doctor, but then after the video ends, I'm like, so I was like, no, you got to pause when you're watching it. I thought I should pause.
Because your brain is like, this is kind of interesting.
Correct. So it's like, no, you have to pause. So it's good to pause at that moment itself. And then distance yourself. Move yourself away. You know it's going to rain, what you would do. Prepare yourself, right? Sediakan payung sebelum hujan. So that's how it is. So you're going to feel this. So you just actually coming in your newspaper. What you do? You just pause.
That's like in terms of like story-wise. And I think another thing that people struggle with is that the feeling of guilt, because sometimes there's like horrific news that comes on our page on social media, and then we feel like we are responsible to watch this news till the end because this person just gone through a tragic thing, so I need to learn about this news, like this is a hot topic that people are talking about, so I have to educate myself about this. But the thing is, this is also what I talk to my therapist, like I feel guilty if I don't watch this, and then she's like, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You've already done your part. It's for the fact that you know that this news exists, that you already educate yourself. And instead of watching, like if your main trigger is through visual, then you can go to Google, search for the news and read it. So I think that is also a good option if you feel like your anxiety overwhelms you and you feel like you're obligated to do so. Then just educate yourself in a different way that doesn't trigger your trauma or your emotions.
Correct.
I think that's a great tips that my therapist has given me. Despite the increased openness about mental health, cyberbullying remains an issue, right? So I have to read this because I don't know if you've heard about this meme. Like, there are trolls or people who are insensitive and dismissive, right? For example, autism is sometimes used as a joke. There's this meme people say, is it acoustic? So the trend is where people see a video and they say, oh, this person is acting different than me. Then they started commenting, is it acoustic instead of is he autistic? It's like a joke, like they change up the words. It becomes a meme because the point is to mock people on the autism spectrum, right? And it reinforces stereotypes even further. So with negativity still being a thing online, should people stay silent to protect their mental health or fight back against these harmful trends? Like if someone were trolling and saying this thing to you and you have this like depression, for example, and the person mocks you, should you protect yourself by being silent or fight back?
You see, this isn't about one size fit all approach. Whichever is comfortable to you, it's either you stay silent and what you get, you fight back what you get. So if you're staying silent, you're considering self-care.
Right.
You don't want to waste your energy, you don't want to waste your time. So you know they are mocking you, they know, I mean, you understand what they are doing. So you are actually preventing the issues to be worse. Yeah, that's how you stay silent. Even for any situations that they are mocking you, they are downgrading you, whatsoever. You want to stay silent? Yeah, stay silent. Of course, I have this one client. This patient came to me and said, "Oh, they were actually bullying me. They were actually doing this to me, and I chose to stay silent." I said, "Wow, that's so nice." And they were like taken aback and like, "Are you saying it's good? Are you saying it's right to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, what makes you to say that?" Oh, I thought staying silent is that, I don't have the guts to fight back. I was like, no. How do you feel when you stay silent? Calm, relax.
Right.
I was like, these are the green zone era. Are you going into the green zone? Yeah. So I was like, so what's wrong with that, right? So it's how you're taking. If you're staying silent, which means you're considering your self-care.
Yeah.
Rather than whatever they are saying, at the end of the day, it's yourself. You know better.
Yeah.
No one knows about yourself more than anybody.
Right.
And another thing, you want to fight back? Yes, you can fight back. If you're ready to face the consequences, if you're ready to take up the challenge it's going to be, it will give you a sense of community, definitely. Because if you're fighting back, another person going to watch that video and be like, oh yeah, I supported this person because he... So you get the sense of community. But in another way is that you are raising awareness. If you're ready to raise awareness, if you're ready to, break the stereotype, if you're ready to do this, then go, fight back. Feel that, okay, go on and do whatever you're supposed to. And supporting online is where you are actually fighting against the harmful ideas.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when we were sharing about skincare and all that, you said, the essential oil or stuff like that. Anyone who have been, seen that, if they want to choose to stay silent, they would have choose to stay silent. But someone who wants to fight back, they would have just gone and, fight against it and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like whichever is comfortable to you. It's either you want to consider just for yourself, because at the end of the day, we don't know how you react. So someone who is fighting back in an online platform, that doesn't mean after they fight back, they post a video, we don't know how do they feel.
Yeah.
Probably there's someone in their family is going through that. We never know. And we are saying, oh, this person is so aggressive. They actually came across and fight back about it. And we know why they're actually fighting back.
Yeah.
Probably unintentionally, they're actually fighting back for brothers or sisters at home. We never know. We really never know. Talking about autism, people might be sharing that, oh, this is wrong, you should not say this, but then why this person, there are also videos like why this person is talking about it, this person was just
Why
sharing.
so sensitive?
Yeah, why so sensitive? We never know who are we for
Yeah.
us to say that. We never know what's going on in their house. We don't know what they have. They might be a brother or sister. We never know. So this is sense of community. So this person are fighting back to raise awareness, to safeguard someone back at home.
Yeah.
We never know that. So it's how we're going to take up this. If you are ready to, if you want to stay silent, quiet, calm, you don't want to make things worse. You don't want to make things worse, you stay silent.
Yeah.
If you really want to, raise what they call raise awareness and all that, then go on with it. All right, but as long as you are supporting against the harmful ideas, opinions, and all that, you must be sure about what you're fighting for, lah.
Fight for the let's do this meme.
Yeah, correct. So it's you know what you're fighting for, then go on. Because talking about autism, like you said, there's a lot of videos coming on. Recently, there's someone about autism. They are actually coming up into a certain media platform and stuff like that, so it is very good to see that people are supporting. But we don't know why these people are supporting. They might just support as in because they kind of like this kind of content or whatsoever. There could be a one category. Another category is someone who is in mental profession, mental health profession, or they are doctors who that's why they are supporting. Another category is that maybe they have someone at home. Yeah, we never know. So I do see videos where actually it's just shared by my colleague. They actually fighting for some. Why this person being busybody and supporting this thing? I'm like, why you posting a video? Just for this,
Why are you upset for them?
Yeah. This person is actually overreacting. There's no necessary for this person to create a video just to talk about this. I'm like, oh wow.
And there's this thing people say like, oh, saya just cakap benda betul je. It's just a fact. Like it is not meant to be a joke. Like I'm just saying the real thing.
Yeah,
but
correct.
See, that's the thing. Like if you say something and someone feels that it's hurtful, like then that's where you have to stop.
But people fail to understand that whatever is online is just for online. Whatever it's online, just for online. Offline, we don't know what's happening. Just for that 30-second, this person, talking about content creators as well, for the 30-second, they might just, talk about this, smiling and all that. Then go back to offline, we don't know we don't know what they have as a life. I have seen a lot of content creators, as a patient and clients, they come to me, they're like, I have to smile for that particular camera shooting, for that timing, and then I do have my life. We never know. We really never know. Until we are in their shoes, we really never know.
Like this, I forgot this actor's name. It's one of the Marvel actors. Like, this huge actor, like, they are the ones who perform in front of camera, goes on stage. Like, you would expect, like, oh, this person has all the confidence they have in the world. They have all the money they want, right? But then they come out and say, like, I have anxiety. I struggle with anxiety. And surprisingly, like, a lot of celebrities go to therapy, right? Because they struggle with their mental health, but we see that as like, oh, why would you struggle with mental health? Like, you have all the things that you need and want, right? But see, that's the thing, like, there's this word people say, parasocial relationship. Like, you don't know the person.
Yes, we don't know. We only see them, even we are going to theaters, we only watch them for 2-3 hours. Probably 1 hour. We don't know. We really don't know. So that's the thing. So it's how we are, taking it to ourselves.
So it's both sides. One is like how you want to handle it if someone is being mean to you, and the person who is being mean, like, you should also learn to be understanding. And I think we kind of go. This is like towards the end of our episode, but just for my last question, you can share like what change do you hope to happen, not only on TikTok but for all social media platforms?
It's more about investing more into more resources, kind of. It's more like I think they should have a control towards what are the content before they are uploaded.
Right.
Yeah, because it's more about, I think there's this now in Instagram, like see why, why you want to see this, are you at this age or stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. But then if I'm not above 18, then, sometimes I could lie. I
Yeah,
don't know.
true.
Yeah. So I think it has to do something with that setting,
Mm-hmm.
something that, what kind of information that can be shared, and then the privacy violations, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Like need to be,
Find what works for you.
Yes, correct. And another thing is that I mean, not just TikTok. I think it's all about instead of sharing this, there's also a video about self-harming.
Right.
It's very sad to talk about it,
Yeah.
and that video has been posted. Happened in Malaysia very recently. Yeah, and it has been shared to um, one of our doctors in our profession, and the doctor were like, what can we do for this? This kind of videos are actually, it's
Yeah.
not, yeah. So I think it more into about, people are talking about the video. There's also, like I said, fight back
Yeah.
towards that video. But then looking forward, how we can improvise this, it's like maybe it has to be evidence-based resources to be shared. Like, oh, this is like automatically, if you're about to, you will have hashtag, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm talking about suicide, I'm going to type suicide in Google.
Yeah.
You will have list of helpline.
Yeah.
So it's just same thing. If you're going to have a hashtag about self-harming, I'm going to die, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. I think that automatically something need to be appear there and say, hey, you know what? I think you need help.
Right.
That kind of thing or something. So why that hashtag to be published or upload,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I think that need to be done.
Need to be.
Yeah, because I see 12 years old kids using TikTok.
Actually, I think TikTok is doing a good job by filtering that. Unfortunately, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's normalized in young people where they share gory images and videos, right?
There's also filters, stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say, it's not really okay. If I have a child, I would not want my child to watch that. All right. So I think this is something that we need to look into.
Be more cautious of.
Yeah,
right?
because we are not with a child, we are not there with them 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know even though some parents they set up this time
Restriction,
frame,
yeah.
and all that. But that time for 20 minutes, we don't know what they're watching. We
Yeah.
can't be like, you're watching this video. Definitely no.
They can be very sneaky.
Yeah, correct. So I think this kind of settings need to be done. Like,
Yeah. True. Definitely. I think that's a great way to end this episode. Like, I truly enjoy this conversation because I don't know, I feel like I'm a TikTok addict. One day I watched TikTok like for 9 hours because I enjoy it. But like, this is something that is needed, right, for people who could continuously consume content. Like there's two sides of it. You need to be cautious and responsible on social media, and conversation about social media, it has been around for so long. Even back in the early 2010s, I remember writing the impacts of social media on society, right? But the main point is that we can't run away from technology. It's there, it's growing, and but what we can do is to be more informed, and again, to be more responsible about your content and what you view on social media as a social media user in general. But and because the reason is that our mental health always comes first.
Yes.
So
Correct.
whatever it is, our mental health comes first. So take care of that, and then you manage the rest. But on that note, so thank you so much, Miss Jesh, for your amazing sharings. I enjoyed this conversation, and it's really interesting to know about the sharings that you shared, right? Like the things that you saw on social media and your own observation on how people handle these things. So that's all, I think. So for other people who are watching us, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you want to be our audio listeners. We also have our social media accounts, TikTok and Instagram, so check us out. It's all linked in the description. But until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.